Hi everyone, my name's David Corden. Welcome to Semper Tattoo in Edinburgh, my studio. The reason I came to Edinburgh to open a tattoo studio, I came here on a holiday initially, and I came here for just one day, fell in love with the city, and having come from the southeast of England, obviously to me everything up here is considerably cheaper, so I realised that my initial investment would mean that I could buy a bigger studio and offer my artists more, which was, I did everything bigger and better than I'd originally planned. I would say the biggest influence in my career, the biggest help, would definitely be Lal Hardy. He contacted me after having seen my work as an apprentice on Facebook, just to compliment me initially. He was just generous, just because that's who he is, generous to a fault, and he's helped me ever since. He's very much like a big brother, and he's given me lots of advice prior to me opening a studio, sort of helped me along my way, and yeah, he's one of my dearest friends. It's a tough one actually. What made me want to be a tattoo artist? I don't think I did want to be a tattoo artist. I didn't know. I've always been a portrait artist. I didn't know you could do portraits on skin, so it was never really an avenue that I ever imagined myself pursuing. It wasn't until those shows like Miami Ink, they have taken tattooing to the masses, and people that wouldn't necessarily have walked into a tattoo studio were learning what could and couldn't be done. So that was where it started to open my eyes as to what was possible. I realised at that point that it was actually a really good career opportunity, and I jumped at the chance. First tattoo I ever did was on my cousin. For a first tattoo, he asked me to do a portrait of Jack Nicholson doing the Here's Johnny scene from The Shining. Edinburgh's special all year round, but Edinburgh at Christmas time, Edinburgh really invests in Christmas in a big way. Anybody that's ever been here will see the Christmas markets are fantastic, and they seem to get bigger every year. My team here at Semper is very varied, very talented. From the very beginning, there's been Maddison has been with me. She does some of the best flowers that you'll see, super realistic, and she does wonderfully cute teacups with happy smiley faces, and oh God, I can't even describe what she does. It's just, I can't even begin to start with anything that cute, and she does Disney like it's just been put on like a transfer. Hamill is a black and grey artist. She does black and grey realism. And then we've got Keira Kirkpatrick. She can do miniature flowers, but she likes doing floral work as well. And she's just got this beautiful, very delicate but realistic style. Joanne Baker, somebody that does very much a watercolour kind of effect. She's got this very unique style of drawing and sketching. And then you've got Elliot Wells, who is an amazing traditional artist, so he does absolutely flawless Japanese work. And then there's Tom Strom, and Tom Strom's been, when I started tattooing, Tom was somebody that I was always looking at in the magazines. Some of his ideas, not for everybody, but his execution is just absolutely incredible. Portraits are probably my first love, but one of the things I always wanted to do was do pin-up tattoos as well. So pin-ups have always appealed to me because there's just, like, Grin is one of my favourite artists, full stop. The fact he does pin-ups is sort of neither here nor there, but he's always managed to capture sort of the sexiness of women without being gratuitous, like they're not tasteless. He's always made stuff like they're always very beautiful, very cute, mischievous, and I think they're timeless. They make really wonderful tattoos for men and women. Other than tattooing, I intend to learn to oil paint. I've only ever done 2 oil paintings. I've had no lessons at painting, and it's something I need to do, is that to actually learn how to do an oil painting properly, because my first 2, although the likeness is there, I used oil paints completely wrongly. When I spoke to people that do oil paint and they're talking about the whole process, and I was just thinking, I didn't do any of that actually. So yeah, I need to. I think we're in the habit of, we don't like having to start at page 1. We want to jump straight to the end chapter and be awesome already. I think tattooing has changed over the years. It's become a lot more accessible to people. I think this is one of the things that Lal actually made me realise, was he told me that when some of the magic's been lost for him, because he said, back in the days of magazines and things, you'd wait with bated breath for each month's magazine so that you could read an article, and hopefully there might be, if you're lucky, your heroes might be somebody that's giving some advice in the magazine, and you'd get excited about seeing what work was out there, because obviously there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, so you didn't have instant access to people as you do now. And when you went to a convention, you got to meet those people in the flesh, so there was a bit of magic to it. And if he said, like, when he was starting out, and some of those people would give him a word of advice or tell him, a technique, and he'd spend the next few months mastering that technique and feeling so privileged to have been given that advice. Whereas now, it's not a one-on-one with an individual anymore, and people can as I say, just get any information at the drop of a hat. If I was going to give somebody one bit of kit from my workstation as a Christmas present, if it was somebody I liked enough, I would give them the FK Irons Xeon Stealth, which is the machine I use every day. At the same time, I probably don't want to give it to anybody as a Christmas present because it's too awesome. So yeah, they can have my water bottle. My favourite Christmas tattoo that I've ever done would be arguably my Die Hard tattoo, my John McClane crawling through the ventilation ducts, partly because that's what I used to do for a job. For 20 years I was a ventilation engineer, so I've crawled through my fair share of ventilation ducting. The other reason being that it's one of my favourite Christmas films, and I do see it as a Christmas film. I know there's an argument that it's not, and that's up to everybody out there, but for me, I've grown up with that movie at Christmas and it'll always be festive for me. Advice to apprentices and newcomers to tattooing, I would say that probably one of the best bits of advice to me is believe in yourself. If you're younger and you're getting into the industry at a young age and you've not got the confidence to stand up for yourself, it can be really difficult. Thanks to everybody for watching, and I'd like to wish you all a very happy Christmas from myself and everybody here at Semper in Edinburgh. I do have a favourite artist at Semper. Actually, I've always been wanting to tell everybody. I think it's about time everybody knew. Without question, the person that I love the most and am inspired by the most is